Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Parenthood. I'm your host, Neha Garg, and as always, I'm so glad you're here. Parenthood is where we sit down with real parents to talk about real stories, the joyful, the challenging, and the often surprising ways parenting reshapes our lives. Each week, we share intimate conversations with parents who are balancing family, careers, and themselves in a world that often demands more than any one person can give. This week, I'm joined by someone whose journey is deeply inspiring, Debaleena Biswas.
Hello.
Professionally, professionally, Debaleena has a decade of experience working in oil, gas, and process industries, fields that are known to be male dominated and demanding. She is also a Six Sigma black belt from ISI and was leading manufacturing excellence when life took a very different turn. She stepped into motherhood. But the transition was far from smooth. A complicated pregnancy, a difficult emergency C section, and returning to work just 3 months postpartum during the first wave of COVID meant that her early days of parenting were shadowed by enormous pressures. She was working from home on half pay, denied a promotion because she wasn't there during her pregnancy, and then asked to join a project 100 kilometers away from Pune while her son was only 7 months old. That was the breaking point. She quit her corporate role, but what followed was the beginning of a new path. Debelina turned to inward and began to study early childhood psychology and parenting deeply. She poured her thoughts into her blog, debeleenabiswas.com, and eventually she founded Saha, a platform to support parents in navigating the overwhelm, misinformation, and disconnection that so often mark modern parenting. She is currently also pursuing an early educator certification, learning not only about children's unique needs, but also about the deep work parents must do within themselves. Debelina's story is one of resilience and reinvention, and I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation. So let's begin. Debelina, welcome to this episode, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. That was a very detailed introduction. And thank you for every word. And thank you for understanding the journey and kind of putting it in the right way. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you. And I always like to start with this question. If you were to
Yeah.
describe yourself in 3 words or short phrases that capture the essence of who you are, what would they be and why?
Me, yeah, I think I am a rather serious person.
Uh-huh.
Serious, hardworking, and deeply sensitive.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So these are the three words. Now, I think this is also has shaped my journey also, as you rightly said,
Yeah.
I could not leave my son with a nanny. I could not just fathom, and I had actually tried other forms of care, but then it occurred to me that I'm just not feeling at ease, and I understood that I would not be able to contribute to work or, be the mother that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that sensitive part of me was that breaking point you said that, this cannot be done anymore.
Oh, okay. So on that note, tell us about your family, your son, your partner, your home life. What are some of the things that can give us a flavor of how your family looks like?
Okay. So I live in Pune.
Mm-hmm.
It's been more than a decade that we have been here. So here it's me, my husband, and my son. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just the three of us, a nuclear family. And I have like we when I and my husband were thinking of where to settle down and whether to take a job somewhere else, because we were getting calls from other cities and we loved Pune so much, both of us. Then we decided that no, we think this is the place we want to be, our roots to grow. So that's why we are in Pune. We and my son has been in Pune since his birth.
Right.
So My side of the family, they are in Kolkata. I hail from Kolkata. I have stayed like my schooling and my undergraduate, those are all done in Kolkata. So
Mhm.
22 years of my life were spent there.
Wow.
And my husband's side, they are right now in Noida. So they
Hmm.
basically hail from Srinagar, Kashmir.
Okay.
But as of now, like they have been settled in Noida since the exodus in the 90s that
Yes.
happened. And I have my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they're very loving grandparents. Unfortunately, they are away. So my
Yeah.
son, it's the virtual connection is more predominant
Yeah.
because we don't get to meet too often. Sometimes they come down, we also go, but it's normally not for a big time
Yeah.
because we have our work and we have the school and all those reasons that are very common, right?
Yeah.
And my side, there in Kolkata, I have a brother, and I lost my father in 2021
One stop.
unexpectedly. But I have my mother, yeah, my mother, my brother. He also got married. He had a child recently. So this is my close family.
Yeah.
And off late, as in last February itself, my husband also quit his job
Oh, wow.
and he wanted to join Saha. So, so now both of us are working on this project and trying to make it work. A very early stage, but we are loving the journey so far because it's a very purpose driven thing that we
Yeah.
are doing, very different from what we were doing up until now because we were into that rat race and we just followed what the society taught us to follow for long. So you do your UG, you do your PG, and then you get the job and you do this and you do that. All of that is a part, very much a part of my journey, not
Yeah.
denying or not trying to kind of make it look bad or anything. But right now this is a very different journey. We are trying to create something together apart from raising a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah. And tell us how did you meet your husband and what is the story there and how it
Oh,
has
okay.
been.
Yeah, that is quite a story actually. So we met in Pune only, and we were batchmates in we did our MBA from IMT Ghaziabad,
Okay.
and we were batchmates. We did not know each other. IMT has a huge batch strength, so it's about more than 600 people.
Wow.
So yeah, so we did not know each other, but then we got placed in the same company as management trainees in Pune,
Right.
and that's where we met each other. So I had never even heard of his name, although he says that he knew me.
Okay.
So okay, fine. I do not know that part of the story, but yeah. So after having met in Pune as management trainees, we were both working in operations, and we were in a remote location, and we started talking. Then he left very soon, actually. He was like, "Ki, this is not something that I can do for long." Because we were in a very remote location and the job was quite mm, tough. And he had done his master's in marketing. So operations
Mm.
was not really fitting him. So he moved. I continued, but we kept in touch.
Hmm.
So, and the next job also somehow he managed to get in Pune.
Oh, wow.
So he came back in Pune, then we started going out together and we got married in 2016.
Wow.
So it was a cross state, cross cultural marriage, some, ups and downs there. But
Yeah.
yeah, here we are almost 10 years, no, 10 years नहीं हुआ हाँ अभी February 2026 would be 10 years. We would be completing 10 years of marriage. 10 years of
Right.
courtship तो हो गया है,
Right.
but we would be completing 10 years of marriage. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. And take us back to your journey into parenthood. What was your pregnancy and then the birth experience like for you? And how did those experiences shape the early days of being a mother?
That is something, I every time I talk about it, it gives me goosebumps
Hmm.
because I was so not ready for what it was.
Hmm.
We always talk about um, I mean, yes, we obviously there needs to be positivity around the experience of motherhood and welcoming a child and everything, but not everything is hunky dory out there. And to my disadvantage, actually, what happened, as I mentioned, that I had this incompetent cervix. When the cervix started shortening at, I think, fifth month or something, so which increases the chances of premature birth or
Right.
miscarriage in the later stage of pregnancy, like seventh month or something. So my doctor did not want to take a chance, and we had to go through this cerclage procedure where they seal the mouth of the womb to prevent any kind of accident. And then obviously there are checkups, regular checkups that happen. So that was, obviously, I had never heard of it. I had heard of a ton of other complications, but the one that happened to me, I had never heard of it. But now I know, like now even one of my friends got it. Some said, "Oh, my Mossy had this." I'm like, okay, this is also something. So I did
Yeah.
not know about it at all. We do not know so many things really, like when it
Yeah.
comes to pregnancy and all. Every case is like so different. And so in my case that was the case, so that was quite a bit unnerving for me. And then what happened was that after that, my doctor said that since I was on the field, right? I had to be
Yeah.
on my toe, on my foot for a long time. So I had to be with the workers. I had to talk to them. I had to conduct these workshops where I would be standing mostly. I could sit, but then it was hectic for, for me. So my doctor said that you can't go to office. If you can work from home, that is fine, but you cannot go to office. You will have to be on bed rest.
Hmm.
And that is when things started getting a little shaky for me. I'm like, okay. And I had not planned on quitting my job. I had no other plans. I had planned that, okay, I'll give birth 6 months postpartum. Maybe I'll try. I had enough leave to kind of extend it for maybe one more month. Seventh month, my baby will be on solids. Thoda sa,
Hmm.
it would start. And then obviously, slowly I will like phase into the
Yeah.
thing. But then COVID happened.
Yeah.
COVID came all of a sudden. We had no idea what was happening. Then this thing happened, this cerclage thing, and I was on bed rest. So then it was very scary for me actually, because when you were put on bed rest, there is this mental load always that what if something happens? What if something happens? What if something happens? And
Yeah.
I already had, before pregnancy, I already was. Taking this counseling, like therapy for anxiety. So I
Right.
already had an anxious uh, trait in me,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So that just makes it worse with all the hormones and everything. So the next 4 or 5 months were not easy.
Hmm.
Somehow I just again that's when I started getting into early childhood. One of the shows that I watched on Netflix was Babies.
Yeah.
So that opened my mind to a
Mhm.
lot of things. Then I read books. There is this book by John Medina. I think it's called The Whole Brain Child. I read that book. I read one more book by the mother from Pondicherry. So How to Raise a Child. So I kept, like, I kept myself busy with all these things, and I used to watch a lot of movies. And then finally what happened was when the delivery happened, that day I had just gone for a, like, a checkup. It was
Hmm.
an ECG for my child. So I
Right.
think that happens at 37th week or something,
Yes.
right? Yes. So that was a regular checkup. I had my breakfast and I had gone, and my doctor was, she just jumped when she, for some time she was like, "Have you not eaten well or something?" I was like, "Yeah, I have eaten well and all." She put me on that machine. It takes some time. So she was in the other room where she could hear the beats.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she just panicked from that room and came into this room. He's like, okay, something is wrong. The heartbeat is dropping up to 60%. Okay, so we cannot wait. Like, something is happening inside, and you are already full term. It's 37 weeks, 5 days. You have done a lot, because we have
Mhm.
already, every visit was like, okay, one more week, because I had that circlage. So going full
Yeah.
term itself was, one day at a time kind of a journey.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, we have crossed the 37 weeks. and we'll have to do a C-section. We can't wait. So, okay, so from there, from the clinic itself, I got admitted into the hospital. My husband came back luckily, and that time it was full curfew. Like there was no vehicle and all that phase was going, like full on lockdown was going on. So my husband came back. He took my mother-in-law who chose to stay back, and that time the flights were all cancelled, so there was no way she could go back also. So she
Yeah.
was just stuck with us here, thankfully. And then they also went back, and I had my child. But then that C-section was, I think, because it was an emergency C-section, I was so anxious. The first time that anesthesia,
Anesthesia. Yeah.
anesthesia. What is I'm forgetting.
Epidural.
Epidural, right? The first time they gave the epidural, and I could still, I had control over my toes. So they were
Yeah.
like, you move your toes. I could move my toes. So my
Oh my
doctor is
God.
like, it's not working. You have to, make her sit up. I was again second dose of epidural. So I had two
God.
back-to-back doses of epidurals. After that, even after that, now I'm smiling, but it was like a traumatic experience when like they took out my son, and then they told ki, you have a son. I was like, okay, I have a son, and I was crying. So my doctor said, if you cry, I cannot stitch you. Okay, I was like, I don't know what to do. I feel like crying. So in the theater, we are having this discussion. I have just had a look at my son, and they have taken him to wash and all.
Yeah.
So my anesthetist said that, okay, maybe I should put you to sleep now. So a third dose of
Oh
that passed.
God.
Okay, and then I do not know. I don't remember anything after that. Then after that, I came out some very drowsy, somewhat opened my eyes, and then they came that, okay, you have to feed. You have to
Yeah.
start feeding. Like, I'm like, okay, okay, fine. So first pregnancy, it becomes very weird in the beginning, like this
Yeah.
feeding and everything. You're so not used to it. So but the first 2 3 days, in fact, I think the first week or the 10 days is it still feels like a haze for me. Like I
Hmm.
was very, very, very down. I could not feel anything. I felt so numb. I did not feel anything, like emotionally, on the feeling
Hmm.
wise. I was not feeling anything towards my son. And then I was like, okay, I mean, why am I not feeling anything? Mothers, they love that image is there, right?
Yeah.
And then it was not like that. It was
Hmm.
absolutely not like that. I had no feeling of love or anything in the way. I was doing everything mechanically, feeding everything, and not everything. I had not touched him for the first 10 days, probably, apart from feeding. I had not cleaned or anything. That everything my husband and my mother-in-law were taking care of, bathing and all those things. But yeah, that first 10 days were, there's still like a haze. Slowly, slowly it started, I started getting back into the rhythm, into the life. And also it was a long, then every time, after 3 months, like when my boss started asking, when will you be able to join? Then, my heart started to sink. I'm like, okay, Abhi, it's this COVID, and how do I go back to work now? And I had exhausted my leaves. So
Hmm.
that 6 months had
Yeah.
already, it's gone down the drain, because I had exhausted 3 months before giving
Yeah.
birth only. So then at 3 months I joined, and yeah, long story. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've also spoken candidly about the challenges you faced at work during that time. You said you returned to work within 3 months and working on half pay and being denied a promotion, all those things. It sounds incredibly difficult, but also very, very relatable. Could you share what was that experience like and how you navigated everything together happening with you and
Yeah,
at you?
actually, it started even when I think when I was pregnant itself. So
Hmm.
because some of the things I had to start saying no to. The thing is
Hmm.
that I had to travel very frequently. Every week I had to travel to this off location where our plant was, because I was managing the manufacturing excellence part. And then because I had to say no, I could figure out that, the people from HR and then my boss, they were feeling a little restless that when will you be able to do this again? When will you be able to do this again? So first I said that the first 3 months, my doctor said that you should not. I had a PCOD. I conceived naturally, but I had a PCOD issue. So she knew everything. So she said, I would suggest you not to travel for the first 3 months. They are a little sensitive period. Take care of your health. So I said that. So that was met with a little bit of apathy, or some kind of uh, judgment that she is not able to contribute now. And obviously I could sense it. I also, back then, the job was very important for me, as a for identity, for financial situation, for everything. So I also started to feel a little weird, scared that, let this just 3 months go. So after the 3 months were over, I went once or twice. I went there, and I was told that there were certain things that, it shows that how the corporate. I do not know if anything has changed in that particular company or in general, but so I was told to go there for 2 days, but then the stay stretched for 5 days, and I was having food which is not home cooked. And in pregnancy we have that that reflux issue. I was in the probably fourth or fifth month, so it's very difficult to digest that outside food continuously. And then again, working in the factory setup, so it was basically a factory, and then you have to walk long distances just to even go to the loo. So all those things for 5 days again, and I was like, okay, this is very difficult. This just cannot be, done for too long. But after that, I had the circlage. So during that period, I kept on, like, even during my pregnancy leave, the maternity leave, I was in touch with my HR. I was in between. I was opening the laptop, doing certain things. That those things. It was not like, she's not there and let her give. That kind of consideration was still not there in the ecosystem. And finally, when that I had, it was March. Huh. So the promotion lists and all this, they come around June. So May, June, around that time. And I saw that people who were newer than me, and I was expecting a promotion basically, and my name was not there. And I was very, very, I was still on the maternity leave, and I was very, very, and still just fresh from the whole trauma of giving birth and all, still navigating that. And baby still not sleeping through the night. You have to wake up every 2 hours. All those things are happening. Everything is happening, as you said, that everything was happening together. And then this, when the list comes out, I don't see my name. I decided to talk to my boss. And he asked me, how many years have you been in this role? I was like, what? You don't know how many years? I didn't say that, obviously, but I was like, I told him how this many years. And then he was like, but you were not there last year. Last year I was not there. That's so untrue, because it was just the last 3 months I was not there. I still remember I took leave from January. So January, February, March. March the year ends, April the year begins. So it was just the 3 months. I was in that role for 4 years. Out of 4 years, only the 3 months I was not there. And that was given to me as an excuse for not giving me the promotion. So that really, really stung at that point. So I felt very down. And then again, I cannot recall how I came out of it, or did I come out of it? Actually, I don't have a memory of that at this point, but it felt very, very bad. And you know what happens with these kinds of dialogues? You start to see your motherhood in a different light. You start to see the experience of the decision to have a child as an obstacle to your goals in your lives. And I was actually seeing it happening in my own life, that, because I chose to have a child, this thing happened to me. Otherwise, it would not have happened, probably. I do not know. Probably there, I do not know. But so that happened. And then when I was asked to join, it was COVID, as I said. That then I expressed that concern that, my child is about just 3 months old. I go out every day. Obviously, the chances of. Then my boss said, yeah, yeah, I understand that. But since your job is primarily on the field, we cannot do I cannot give you a lot of work, which can be done remotely, and that's why you have to take a pay cut, severance. Okay, so it's like, okay, fine, fine. I did not have any, I did not negotiate, I did not do anything. I just did not have the strength to say anything or do anything at that point of time. Like, whatever is given, I'll take. That was the situation. Because mentally also I was not, I was, it was not the me who's talking now. So maybe at this stage I can put up a fight, but that time I was still recovering the postpartum everything. 3 months into the postpartum, we know, like, you were so lost. And then obviously there were these, lost the promotion, and then this, I was like, you start to see actually this experience as a deterrent to your the other identity that you have been creating for so long. So motherhood was something that was just 3 months old, but this other identity of me being a woman who who can contribute to the society, or who can do something of her own, who can earn her own money, that identity has been shaped for the last 30 years. So it takes a heavy toll on your self concept and confidence. So then I took the pay cut, and then that, after an around, I think, January 21, my boss said that, you'll have to now come back, and you'll have to come to office. And the thing is that we have a project in Y, which is about 100 kilometers from Pune, and we expect you to be there at least half of the week, every week. Then I was like, I cannot do this. I just can't, because I also knew that half of the week, something that I had really, really been focusing on was, uh, breastfeeding. So I wanted to do exclusive breastfeeding, which I have been doing since that day. My child was 7 months, but I understood when I, again, as you go along, you understand. So from 6 months to 7 months, those meals are, they don't fill their tummies. They are just, throwing foods everywhere. Somehow you put in 2 spoons into the mouth, and that's all. And they come to you only for the milk. So when they're having the milk, their tummies are, and actually they are growing, so they need more milk. So so I was like, "Okay, I do not want to introduce formula. I cannot do this, because it was, I had chosen pregnancy. It was not like by chance happened or something. We actually discussed, we sat through, and we're like, okay, this is the time we are ready to have a child. And I thought, ki, okay, Abhi, something, as I said, that was the breaking point, as you rightly said. Like, I can't do this anymore. We sat, it was, anyway, it was difficult, but then my husband also stood by me. We had the EMI of the house, we had a car, we had two EMIs running at that point of time. And obviously, we had planned with both the incomes together, right? So then we sat down, and then we discussed. It's like, okay, fine, it will be a little tight financially, but we were ready to go to the extent of selling off the house also, if required, and move to some place smaller, if that would be better. Thankfully, we did not have to do any of that. Everything was quite smooth, I would say. We took trips, we went out also, we did everything. It was not like, I can't believe that what all we did after me having left the job. Because before leaving, you always tend to think that if I stop working, everything will, just fall apart, and the money will stop coming. And but that was not the case. Obviously, it took some 5 to 6 months, and thankfully, at that time, it was COVID. We could not have gone anywhere. We liked to travel, but as the situation would, arise, that we would not be able to travel anyways. So that was also there. But then, yeah, I quit. I think I decided within 2 days, and then I resigned in 2021. And then the next chapter started, which is still unfolding. Don't know where it will take us, but yeah.
You have been mentioning something which struck me, that yeah, all of this was like you started to see motherhood as a deterrent, and as something that is an obstacle to your career, to a professional life, and all of that. I i am also seeing the flip side of it. I am also seeing, it is about, it is like we as mothers take it upon ourselves to, they put the blame on us. But also I am also seeing the flip side of it, where organizations need to step up and take some responsibility. So
Hmm.
did this happen with you, like at that point of time? Of course you can see it now, but at that point of time, did the blame, so to say, solely lie with you? At that point of time, did you blame yourself, or you also sort of started seeing the loopholes that existed in the workplaces, how the workplaces treat new mothers, and how how it all happens. Uh,
Yeah, so actually, I think there were again two sides to it. I blamed myself for not having the guts to go back. You know, I see so many women doing that. They can do it. They are very close friends of mine. My sister-in-law, just as I said, that had a baby, and they are all, they have been able to leave the child with a nanny. And thankfully for my sister-in-law, my mother is also there. But for me, I think that just depends from person to person, temperament to temperament. For me, I think I would not be happy living with my mother also, right? That thing that it's my response. I somehow, I deeply felt that it is my job, this is my job, and I just can't delegate it to. But I did not understand I would feel this way before the baby arrived. Right? I had no clue that I would feel this way. So that I sometimes, building a business, there are highs and lows, right? Even till date, sometimes I do question at times that, was it, could I have gone back? I just did not have the guts. Did I just, you know, give up too easily? I do not know. But the answer is always that probably I was just not meant for it. Not everyone is meant for everything. But at the same time, back then, I also felt very angry. I felt very angry at organizations. Like, if you have, for me, as I said, that I used to, in factories, if you have been to a factories, you will see there are mezzanine floors, right? So I used to, my desk was in one of those mezzanines. So I had to climb and sit there, and there was no washroom in that shade. So the washroom was in the other shade. Now I was pregnant. My boss knew it. They did nothing. I mean, if I had the capacity, I mean, one day, I hope, if I had the capacity, I would make sure that the pregnant lady sits somewhere near the restroom, shift the desk. We can probably have a area like one desk or two desk. Like in a manufacturing firm, there are just a handful of women, and chances are very less that two women will be pregnant at the same time, right? So you have one spare desk from the HR side where this pregnant person can go and sit. The desk can be shifted the moment you know that she is expecting, because it is not it cannot be expected of a pregnant woman to climb that. And when you are pregnant, you have to go to the washroom multiple times, right? And for me, luckily, I did not have that puking tendency. But many women have that. They have to run to the washrooms. How would I do it? Like, I would have to sit with a bag on my desk. There would be no other option if I had that morning sickness and all. So those kinds of facilities are not there. Most organizations, Indian organizations, they would not have any pumping room for mothers coming back, right? For in MNCs, there are there, I hear my friends, but in most Indian companies, from the banks have so many women employees. They don't have any pumping facilities or anything. So what are you trying to say? Ki a mother who comes back after 6 months, they have to stop feeding, they have to introduce formula. But what if they don't want to and still want to work? Right, for me that was a big thing. I kept on thinking, it's not that I gave up. Like if I think, I kept on thinking, how can I pump? I thought of going back. I was like, but where will I pump and where will I keep the milk for 2 days, and how will I come, well, like how will I do this even in the setup that I knew, the whole setup that I had in my organization. So I was like, this is just not possible. I have to stop feeding. That was the only way. So things like that made me very very angry. Like, you are, and it was not a small organization, it was a big company. So if you are like, you have so much money to do so many other things, this amount of money for a few women, it's not like women are dominating the workforce, like, there's so much gap even there. Why not? But then I was like, there's no point in kind of thinking about all these things. It just makes me sad and angry. And then I could understand that it is just not doable, that without the pumping facility, without these kinds of, like, at least during the pregnancy times, what I mentioned, there are some companies, when I went back and I checked, that there are some companies, uh, big companies, they have this, in HR, they try to look into this promotion thing, like the thing that I faced. It's very common actually. But some companies, they were trying to make it a part of their evaluation system. So they would actually go back and check that did this person, why, if she is due for promotion, why wasn't the promotion given? And if that person is pregnant, or maybe have delivered recently and taken that maternity leave, and then that in that phase the promotions were announced and things like that, so they would actually go and question the department head, that why wasn't she given the promotion, to ensure that these kinds of biases don't come in. Because it's the managers finally, every thing given, and like, even if there is a very solid structure, evaluation system, finally the bias, the decision that comes from a human being, right? So some companies were trying to do this, because I started delving deeper into it, like why, how many people, and I read interviews of, HR heads from big companies, that we are trying to do this. I do not know how far they are actually applied, but there were interviews and blog posts and stuff like that, where they were mentioning that we do this. Then I came across one company, I can't recall the name, that they gave uh, 7 years after birth, like the mother can take leave for 7 years, obviously leave without pay. The first 1 year could be leave with pay or something like that, and for the 7 years it is leave without pay. So for 7 years you have the job, you can come back even after 7 years. And that makes, obviously I know that small companies cannot do this, or maybe they can, because if it is leave without pay, if the, if they survive for the next 7 years, a small company, they would be happy to have an old employee back. But having that security, that no matter what, I have 7 years to tend to my child, and then after 7 years I can go back to the job. But that those kinds of supports are still very rare, very evolving. Startup, we have a startup, like these days a lot of small companies, startups are coming up, and they are also arguing that we cannot afford to have even 6 months of maternity leaves, because when the person goes, we need someone to fall back upon, a backup system. So I understand the organizational complexity of it. That being said, the reality of the motherhood does not change based on all those things. You are on mute, I think.
Now,
Yeah, perfect.
okay. And when you're saying all these things, Debulina, it makes me wonder if you had to redesign how organizations, support working mothers, what are two or three things that you would change?
Well, I hope one day I get to do that through
Hmm.
Saha. I keep on thinking that, I would have. I think two or three things, as I said, that when a mother chooses to stay with a child for some time, let's say, not just for that amount of 6 months, even maybe
Yeah.
a longer, maybe 1 year, we as a society or maybe as corporations who have the power to shape the society can actually should actually support that with
Mm.
all their might, some flexibility works wonders. Flexibility is something that every, I think, starting from pregnancy till the first 3 years.
Yeah.
In my company there was no flexibility of time also, so you had to go back, you had to punch in at 8:30. 8:30 to 4:30 was the timing, and no matter what you would have to do that to get the pay. Otherwise there will be pay cuts also, because if you are late,
Wow.
okay, so those policies were also
Mm.
there. But it does not work like that for a mother up until the
Yeah.
3 years. Like,
Yeah.
you do not know when your child gets up, but when he gets up he needs the first feed from you. And maybe that last night you have not slept well. So if we are not able to support mothers through flexibility is one core aspect, I think that is something I would definitely want to rope in the policies, that a mother, they should be able to work in. And one more thing that I felt was that uh, when a woman becomes a mother, we should also be able to transfer, if the role does not let you uh, work flexibly, or let's say for me, work on the field. As an organization, there can be a system to assign certain types of roles to the mothers,
Yeah.
and phase in, like
Yeah.
once the mother has said ki, okay, I'm expecting, so maybe after 2 or 3 months I'll have to tell my organization that, look, I'm expecting. So I have about 8 to 9 months to train her, train other people, and do that shifting in between,
Yeah.
so that she can also continue, she can learn something new. And I think in my organization that was very, very much possible, was
Hmm.
possible, because I was in operations, but I was coming from an MBA background. So I could very well have been shifted into something like finance, or marketing part of it, where I could learn other things.
Yeah.
Then once ready, you can always come back, because you have an insight. When I was in the manufacturing, I was uh, looking after a lot of machinery costing, and budgeting for the year, and product costing, how much we are losing on one product, so if I was given a role in finance, it would help my understanding, bolster my understanding so much more,
Yeah.
because I could see the other side of the story and come back and contribute in. But the management did not have that foresight. They just wanted me to be there on the field.
Yeah.
That could also be managed by someone else. What I was doing, I know people who were working then. I know that these kinds of, a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of foresighting and planning
Yeah.
can also help. And
Yeah.
obviously, physical facilities like restrooms and pumping rooms, and I understand for every organization probably it is not possible to have a daycare, but maybe these days there are a lot of options. You can tie up with certain uh,
Yeah.
certain facilities, certain service providers who are doing this already, and you can have those kinds of, no matter. So for instance, in my organization the number of women employees were less,
Yeah.
so that was always a ground for them to not have a daycare. So why do we need a daycare? But in that area, there would be so many other daycares. So you can easily tie up with the daycare, no, that it's my whatever, like want to. You don't have to have a separate setup inside the company. But even within 1 kilometer radius, if you are able to manage one facility where the mother can drop the child maybe after some time, whenever she is ready, and come to work, maybe sometimes go and check in on the child and then come back, that gives a lot of relief, I can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, those kinds of things I definitely like to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, tell me, Devalina, do you ever miss your old corporate role, or does it feel like that was a completely different life altogether?
No, I don't really miss it. I really don't miss it. It was a different life altogether, and I think it had its own purpose at that
Mm,
point of life, uh, which was to build on this, buy the house, buy the car, and take those trips, and those were the purposes back then. And now my purpose is something different.
yeah.
So I do not really. In fact, I really thank sometimes my boss for not giving me that promotion, because if I had gotten that promotion, I would have probably not left. I would be like, okay, this is a new promotion, and I know I have to kill it and everything, and I do not know. I would probably go back. I do not know. I do not know. But there's a, I think, higher chance of me having gone back and not do having all these experiences that I am having now. It's a totally different ecosystem which I'm a part of,
Yeah.
right? I'm interacting with other founders. I'm interacting with people like you, which I would never have thought of, because I was hardly there on any of these platforms or anything. It was just my job, and coming back to home, somehow managing that rest of the hours and going back to job. There was no time, and I am sure that with the arrival of my baby, had I continued with the job, this creating an identity for yourself part, the journey that I took, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
So it is much more exciting now. So I really do not want to go back.
So happy to hear that. And tell me, from a career in manufacturing, first blogging about parenting and then founding Saha, that's quite a leap. How did that transition happen for you?
Well, as I said, that when I left my job, I was a mess, because I had not seen that through, right? And I still remember the first day, when just after the last day of work,
Yeah.
I had submitted everything, and all the formalities were done, and I was at home. My husband was leaving for work. So, and I was putting his lunch box. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Is this my life now? Am I going to pack lunches for the rest of my life? What am I going to do? And it's a sheer panic. Okay, it's like, what is happening? And obviously, I have the clueless child looking at me, calling me, and that time he was just 7, 8 months old. He's crawling everywhere. I remember breaking down, like, I used to. I broke down quite a few times. I had sleepless nights thinking that what next? What next? What do I do now? I will never be able to go back to a job, was the thought. But then that was also not true. I could have gone back to a job if I
Yeah.
wanted to. And the fact that, the kind of role that I was doing, there are very few women. And now we are trying to have more women in the roles that, in the male driven roles that are there. So I got calls, like even up until last year, I was getting
Mm,
calls that, are you interested, are you interested? So they are looking for women in this, but if you are not interested, can you get me connected to some of your women friends who are in the same this thing? So they are looking for women, they are hiring for women. So if I wanted, I could have gone back,
yeah.
but I chose not to. But that point of time, it felt like, the world has completely come to us to an end, like I do not know. But I always, like, I kept on reading, I kept on reading. I still do, I still refer to him as my guruji. I do not know, have you heard of Mark Manson?
Yes.
Yeah. So I used to read his blogs and his books and everything a lot. And then he was like, okay, like looking at his journey, I was like, okay, if he can, build himself from nothing, and he also started writing, although that was way back.
Mm,
I was like, okay, I think probably this is something I can do. Maybe I can write something. I like to read. I'm still reading. I'd write to. So then I kept on reading. Those are the internal dialogues that I had to have with myself. Like, if you have to write, then you have to understand this bit, this early childhood and all. So then I took some courses online, course on Coursera. Some courses were there, so those courses I took, and I started reading a lot, and I found it very interesting. So and I had a lot of energy. I still do. I have a lot of energy to do things, that doing energy. And obviously, for people like me, it is very difficult to just relax and sit back. Even though you quit your job, then some one of my friends said, "Ki, 2 mahina you don't think anything, na you take care of yourself." I was like, I can't do that. I just can't chill. I'm not there. So then I started reading a lot and I started writing. Initially, I started writing on LinkedIn and I started writing on things related to manufacturing. So 5S and suggestion schemes, typically the things that I was working on. Then I was finding the other topics related to this child development more interesting. So then I took a domain on WordPress and I started writing. I started writing not just about, like, in the beginning, I was not writing only about child development. I was writing because I was thoroughly inspired by Mark Manson at that point of time. I was writing a lot about, philosophy and those kinds of things, self-help kind of stuff. I enjoyed that part. I started, then slowly, I learned how to make a blog. So writing is
Hmm.
just one part of it, right? Then there are technical things. You have the SEO, you have the how to organize the blog, the themes, and there are many terms that come in the technical parts of the blog. So I had to
Yeah.
learn about those also. And then I think this went on for about 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, reading and writing. I have written about like 100 plus blog articles, and they are all like, back then I was not using any chat GPT. Now I do not know if chat GPT existed at that point of time. It was just me, reading through the researches and books, and then quoting them, making notes, and trying to come up with something. They're very long posts. Some of my friends complained, "Ki, they're so long." I was like, okay, people are not ready to read, but I was just writing just for the heck of it. And in between, I learned French also. So that
Oh,
took some.
wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I learned French. That also I enjoyed the journey. I was like, okay, I always wanted to learn a language. Let me see. So learned French from scratch and gave the exam. So that was when the French thing got over. Then right around the same time, my son also started going to school.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think before he had started going to school, I had already started planning that, what can I do? Once he goes to school, I'll have like 4 or 5 hours. And with the blog, I was understanding that the era of Mark Manson is over. Right? So it's like, obviously, I still write a lot on LinkedIn and all because I enjoy writing. I like to write. But then I was like, no, this is probably not going to happen because he started a long back and I cannot just compare. So
Mhm.
but then I wanted to, as I said, that I did not want to go back to a corporate because I
Right.
was thinking that was traumatic enough and I don't want to go back. And I wanted to do something in the early childhood space and thinking that digging a little bit into data. So I thought that, okay, let me start with something which will have this. The first thought behind Saha was to create the right physical environment for holistic development of children.
Hmm.
Sounded very, very serious.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, initially it was written on the website also. I had written it on the website also. But then I figured that this is just too serious, and I am selling toys and clothes. So let me keep it simple, even though the intention was that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so then so we are focusing on open-ended toys, and that also was a part of my desire to have my son enrolled in an alternative education system, which through which I found Waldorf. So
Yeah.
uh, so everything we do at Saha is inspired by Waldorf. So we try to keep things natural and open-ended, uh, with the as minimum stimulus as possible, just the right amount of stimuli, not too flashy or anything. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Help. Does your engineering and manufacturing background shape the way you build Taha? Do you feel like those skills do sneak in?
Mm, yes, I think so. Because you have that way of thinking,
Yeah,
and particularly the manufacturing part. Because it helped me also, because when I was in my last role, no, I saw products from end to end being made.
right.
Because I was on the management side of it, I was also seeing how they're put into the market, and what kind of challenges we are facing when it comes to the managing the cost, and how they kind of reflect in the management's decisions. So I was able to see all those things, and I think that made my journey, like it made Saha doable. I had
Hmm.
not seen that chain, no?
Yeah,
It feels like a big mountain. Like, where am I even going to start? How to make anything?
yeah,
So I think that helped me to believe that these things can be manufactured. It can be done. So understanding that supply chain, and also I think I have that for the past. Like whenever since I think 2014, 2014 to 2021, my role was a lot about improvement,
right,
driving improvements on the shop floor. So small improvements, big improvements, but mainly focusing on the small improvements and then building upon that.
right.
So I think I still try to do that in Saha. So I think the website that we have created, what it was in the beginning, and slowly we have benchmarked with others, and then we are slowly we have built. Now the website looks completely different. So my husband says that we should have captured this, what it was and now what it is. It's so, yeah, somewhere I feel that it is being shaped by my previous experience. Also, that the lack of I have never done selling.
Yeah,
Okay, so the lack of that experience also shows up. It's not easy for me to, the first exhibition that we did, I was so scared. I think that would be for anyone, but I had never done any selling, right? Directly asking for money for something that you have made was something that I've never done.
yeah,
I was sitting at the job and I was getting money. So I did
yeah.
not have to see that process through. And here you are actually selling stuff, which felt very difficult in the beginning, but I'm learning. Yes. So my husband comes from the sales background, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
he will. Yeah.
And where is Taha now? Like, what is happening? What is the what part of the journey are you at currently?
So I would say that we just completed 1 year
Yeah,
recently.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So we have in the past 1 year, what we have tried to understand is how our customers are perceiving our offerings.
Right.
So that is something that we have worked on trying to understand. We have tried marketplaces, different kinds of marketplaces, online, offline, and slowly we have now come to an understanding what works for us, what does not work for us. Uh, so we are at that optimization point in terms of where all our products should go and should not go.
Yeah.
We are also exploring, other kinds of opportunities which we have not explored till now, like B2B
Mm.
kind of opportunities, which we have not explored in with a lot of rigor. We have superficially and have gotten some response. So based on that, we will double down on that from now on. And uh, we are also trying to understand that between toys and clothing, what resonates more with people, what is easier for us to communicate. So it is definitely the clothing which is easier for us to communicate. Toys, it's not so easy, because the market is flooded with so much of this toys with a lot of features, lights, robotic sounds, and lots of features basically. So when
Yeah.
they see, when most of the customers who see our open-ended toys, their question is to what to do with this. They can't think of the value behind the simple things. So we are trying to create awareness behind that. We are trying to have a lot of uh, like one thing is reels, but we have also started doing awareness campaigns on Meta ads also, so that we can reach a little more, just for the generation of awareness for now.
Right.
So, and also we have recently started this Saha parenting circle, which
Yes.
is free of cost, because Saha, when I had envisioned this, I had always envisioned this as an ecosystem for parents who are trying to choose consciously. So the clothes and the toys, they are the tangible part of it, but the intangible part is the parents
Hmm.
who are really shaping the environment, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to take it slow, wanted to understand how, where people are, how ready are they to take in content, or how ready, how willing are they to work on themselves, understand the importance of working on themselves, so that their children gets the benefit of it basically. So the as I am getting delving deeper into this early childhood thing, even through the training that I'm going through, so it is all about the first 7 years and beyond. But the first 7 years, no, it's all about working on ourselves. It's a lot about working on ourselves, getting ourselves on track. If we are not, like,
Yeah.
some of us could be on track, so that's okay. So if we are not there yet, so there's a lot of things that can be done, and I'm trying to provide that support through the Saha parenting circle. So right now we are in the first cohort. We have just had a very small group, but after we are in the third, fourth session of this cohort, I'll start putting out more invites and see how it pans out. We are also thinking of doing some workshops for parents, again, trying to understand where they are, how ready are they for the intangible stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out. Let's see.
So, where do you hope to take Saha in the next 5 years? What is the dream vision?
The dream vision. Well, I really want it to be an ecosystem for parents who are who at least have the intention of doing that the first 7 years rightly,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So and as I said, that the toys and clothing, they are the physical tangible part of it. There could be many other tangible parts, the food part, what nutrition goes into, and stuff like that. But the more important part is understanding the self, again, working on the self, so that I can choose consciously, I can understand that what to choose. So when parents don't understand that what these blocks will do, the problem is not the lack of understanding. The problem is that we are not talking enough about the open-ended play, the need for
Yeah.
free play,
Yeah.
right? And obviously we have our other, so many other roles we are playing in our lives. So I cannot expect everyone to drop everything and just completely devote their time to understand early childhood and so on. So I want Saha to be that easy space for parents where they can come and choose consciously for their children while navigating their own inner journey. So
Wow.
in the future, I'm hoping to add quite a bit of content and workshop part, because I really want to help parents choose better. So once they understand, no, why free play is important, it's basically a no-brainer to choose a certain. Once they understand why handwork, so we do not talk about, it's almost non-existent. Like, we have so many busy boards and other kinds of toys, people are talking about, but nobody talks about the importance of letting children work with their hands.
Yeah.
Uh, like simple things like, maybe it can start with just beading,
Hmm.
just putting, thread through beads and then slowly moving even into stitching. Letting children work with actual knives.
Hmm.
We shy away from doing that.
Yeah.
They are actually capable of doing this.
Okay. And Debaleena, tell me, how do you carve out time for yourself amidst everything that you do? You are learning so much, you're like studying, almost like studying, you're building an organization, you're mothering, and so all of this. And do you find time for yourself?
Well, that's a very hard question. I do not know what is time for myself. So the thing is that I have a very strict morning routine. So
Hmm.
I get up, I will have some hot water or something, and then I'll exercise. I'll have to exercise. I take that thing very seriously. And these are the two things that I swear by. And those are probably my like time for myself. Apart from that, uh, on Sundays, yes, Sundays I try to take a complete break. So it's I will tend to my plants.
Hmm.
I will do some maybe some painting, and the best part is that because Bodhi has been a part of this, no. So when I
Yeah.
tend to into my plants, he's very enthusiastic. So he will help me, in taking out all the weeds, maybe putting some seeds, putting some fertilizer. So we have a very nice time. So those are not really completely me time because he's there, mama, 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 to hai na, it's always there. But it's still in a way kind of disengaging from the daily
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sundays are sacred. Sundays are sacred. Mornings are sacred. And also at the night before sleeping, I try to read a spiritual books, maybe some, most of the times, and a little bit of meditation and journaling. Journaling is something that I do every day. I have to do journaling.
Hmm.
So yeah, these are the few habits I have. But they are not like time for myself. If you have to tell me time for myself, I would like to just sit around and doing nothing basically, maybe for some time. But that's not happening. I have been wanting to. Yeah.
You talked about, Bodhi accompanying you when you're tending to your plants or something. So, are there more such rituals or things that you do together as
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what are some of those things?
So many, almost everything. So he is a part of everything we do. So
Hmm.
like the days that when we are on weekends when we are having lunch, he will prepare the salad by himself. So the whole salad, cucumbers and carrots, he peels them, he chops them, he does everything. While maybe we are, heating the sabzis or making the chapatis. He even it depends. Last weekend we had pita hummus, so we
Hmm.
made everything at home. So for pita, he did the kneading and then
Wow.
he did the rolling. And rolling, they were perfect. Now this time they were pretty round and good quality rolling. So he's a part of everything. When we prepare for exhibitions, he will help us in putting the tags. So it's
Wow.
an activity, it's like beading for him. No, you put the whole
Yeah.
story, then so that is there, and then cleaning. He loves to clean. In
Wow.
fact, he is probably the leader in cleaning, and I follow along. So because he will have everything cleaned. Today morning itself, he has told me that you have kept this chair so dirty. You should fold your clothes. And last week was Durga Puja,
Yeah.
and we had exhibitions, and also it has been a little messy around the house, and he does not approve of that. So cleaning is something that he does. So cooking, he enjoys. So in cooking though, this is something we always do together whenever we are cooking. Gardening, and then so the thing is that when we invite him into our world, right, that
Yeah.
you do this with us. So when he's drawing, no, he will call either me or Nikhil, my husband,
Yeah.
to sit and draw with him. So two pages he would open. So like you draw on this, I draw on this. So
Wow.
we both will be drawing together.
Hmm.
So that is also one of the rituals, that
That's
rituals as in that is something that we do regularly. So we'll have to draw together on the same copy. So yeah, these are the few things, I
and
guess.
and tell me something small but very impactful moment that has that you can share from your parenting journey that stays with you, something that shaped the way or you think or feel as a parent.
I feel I think one time it so happened that it was quite long back. I think Bodhi was 2.5 years, and he has been a very good eater. So
Hmm.
I really did not have to struggle much. The only thing I did since the beginning was that let him play with food, throw food everywhere. So that part was little messy, but that paid off later. So he eats everything, everything. So, but it was about 2.5 years of age he was, and he was refusing food for some reason I cannot remember, and I lost it. So something was obviously I had my own things going on in my head. So and
Yeah.
it was just me and him in the house. So I lost it. I put him up from the high chair and put him on the mattress that was there on the floor, and he said in a loud voice, "Mama," and started crying. And I felt so bad. Like I was like, this is, I mean, he was not at fault. It's just that I did not have patience.
Yeah.
And right, it's just that I did not have patience. That was not a regular day. He does not bug me for having anything. He eats everything. Maybe that day he did not feel like eating. Sometimes even we also do that.
Yeah.
And I did not have it in me to understand and, have some empathy towards it and not behave in that way that I did. And that's when I understood that it is so important to again work on the self. So when that's why I do not miss my meditations. I was like, if I don't do that, no, that if I don't do a feeling check in the morning, something will pile up somewhere. It will come out because obviously we are all human beings, and we have, unfortunately I have not had a lot of good role models of good emotional regulation in my life,
Yeah.
and that's the case with many adults. I have discussed it with all other friends also. So we have not seen people regulating, and that's why if we don't do the work, I will pass that on to
Yeah.
my next generations. And that was one. And the thing is that children, they are so kind and they're so forgiving. Next moment he hugged me and he ate from me again. Right?
Oh.
If I were that person, like if someone had done that to me, I would have probably not talked to him for some hours or something. So that's the
Yeah.
kind of ego adults have, right? But children do not have that. They're so kind, they're so forgiving in nature, and it kind of that's why it lies upon us, the adults, to be that imitable versions. In Waldorf pedagogy, we say that we need to be worthy of imitation, because children are always imitating us.
Yeah.
Okay, but whether we want it or don't want it, they are imitating us, right?
Yeah.
But then we have to be worthy of that imitation, no? Like someone is imitating us and, building his world vision around me. That's a huge responsibility if I think about it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I myself have taken this journey of understanding myself and working upon myself very, very seriously. And I enjoy doing this also. It does not
Yeah.
feel like a burden to me that I have to work on myself. Honestly, I have developed so much through this journey. I have healed so much through this journey. There is a lot of things that I have taken care of, which I would have not otherwise, because they were just being piled up, kept somewhere, and it would come out spuriously here and there, and then it's just there. But then when you actually look into it and take care of it, heal from it, that feeling is different. It is
Yeah.
slow, it is progressive, but I am liking it. And I want other parents to experience this.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful journey, and not just for the child, for the self also.
Yeah, yeah. And you're talking so much about the journey, you're talking so much about, how you have changed and evolved. So if you were sitting across from your pre-parent self, is there an advice or assurance you would give her?
Oof, that's a lovely question, actually. I think I would ask her to be less afraid. All
Mm,
my life, I have taken many decisions based out of fear,
mm,
and that's not a good place to be. And it started showing up in my body also. I started having a lot of physical issues. In fact, just after pregnancy, every year I had a surgery. I had this sebaceous cysts coming up at random places in my body. They would get infected and they would have to be removed, and they were all surgical processes. Like, there would be removal, there would be stitches and everything. So, it, and before that also, well, before pregnancy also, I had a lot of physical issues. So it starts showing up when you are doing things out of fear and anxiety. It's not a good place to be. So I would ask myself to take this break probably before only. It's like you leave that job and focus on yourself for maybe a year, and trust me, nothing is going to happen. Like, you will not be homeless. You will not have, you will not have to look for food everywhere, and that is not going to be the case. You just uh, heal yourself. You understand yourself, and the journey is going to be different.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
something I.
Beautiful. And finally, my last question to you for today is, if there is one piece of insight or wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with, what would that be?
Um, Again, I think this is something born out of my own experience only. So, even when we raise our children, we do a lot of things out of fear. Like, when we talk about many parents about the Waldorf pedagogy, and in Waldorf, the children, they do not write before the age of 6. Like, write on pen and paper. They might do writing with their finger and all, right? Those kinds of things. And parents are scared. Like, they are not writing. What will happen? How will they compete for the exam? So they're already thinking of joint entrance and all those kinds of exams. And the reason for choice of schools or the type of education also stems from that fear that my if they don't do this, they will lose out on something. If they don't go for this many number of extracurricular activities, they are not using their time well. So a lot of decisions, and there's a lot of fear mongering in the market also. So when they pitch their products, they said, you don't do this, your child will lose out on this, and stuff like that. So, as parents, we must understand what is important for us. And it might sound very superficial, but because if someone has not gone through this journey of trying to understand. So many people ask me, how do I choose a school for my child? How do you, because choosing a school is such a difficult decision for parents. And I tell them it is difficult because you do not know what do you want. What is the idea of education in your mind for your child? Once you have that clarity, now you will have no, you will not be falling prey to these fears,
Right.
right? So a piece of advice or something that I have understood through my journey is that whenever you are taking any decision for your child or for yourself, just step aside, be that observer in yourself, and try and understand whether you are doing it out of fear or you are doing it out of love and purpose.
Hmm.
If there is an element of fear, then you probably want to question that decision.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is something that I would like to say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I am going to take that back in my life. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Let me know
Debaleena.
how it feels.
I will. I will. Thank you so much for sharing your story with such honesty. I think what stands out for me is how you've transformed really, really tough experiences from a complicated pregnancy to systemic workplace challenges into a journey of growth, learning, and creating something meaningful for other parents as well. And I think the work that you're doing now with Saha really speaks to that deeper sense of purpose. So thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
doing
so
what you
much.
do. And
Thank
thank you for being here.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning into Parenthood. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might also find comfort.